The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is the single most important constitutional amendment for African Americans. It makes us citizens and it guarantees our right to equal protection under the law. But now it's under attack by conservatives. Stay tuned to the big picture. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution states that all individuals who are born in these United States are deemed to be citizens. The historical background for that statement in the 14th Amendment is that Southern states said to former slaves, African American slaves, that although you're free, although the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, freed you, that does not make you citizens. And you must be citizens to vote, to participate in this democracy, to have a voice. And so Congress, at that time, the liberal Congress, over the veto of President Andrew Johnson, put forth the 14th Amendment, which ensured that all individuals born in the United States would be deemed to be citizens automatically, no questions asked. So now this issue is being debated hotly today by the President of the United States. And he's bringing it forth in the context of individuals who come from different countries and have babies, often disparagingly referred to as anchor babies. And these babies are automatically citizens. And President Trump is putting forth the proposition that through a executive order, he can reverse that. He can negate a central provision of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. But if you are an African American and you are listening to this, it may go over your head. You may say, well, that's them. Well, I would advocate that even if it was just them and it didn't have any impact on us at all, we should stand up. We should stand up for justice, for what is right. We should not countenance the targeting of any minority group, because we are minorities and we have been the negative recipients and beneficiaries of that for hundreds of years in this country. So how can we remain silent in the presence of anyone being oppressed? But if that doesn't ring your bell, then you should know that this discussion, that this debate about the 14th Amendment actually pertains to us. The law was passed, or rather this particular constitutional amendment was ratified because our rights were being challenged and our rights were being denied. And the 14th Amendment says that all people have equal protection under the law. But when that particular constitutional amendment was ratified in 1868, it was talking specifically about the rights of African Americans. And what the conservatives are trying to do is to get the issue in the conversation of the 14th Amendment back in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has visited this amendment on two separate occasions in history. In both instances, it had a seismic impact on the rights of African Americans. And if it comes before the Supreme Court again a third time, I am certain, and I am warning you, and I am sounding the alarm that it will not just affect anchor babies, but it will redefine and lessen and limit the rights of African Americans. And that, if you can wake up, is the big picture. That's the ultimate goal that they're angling at. You know, conservatives are being very clever these days. We talked a couple of weeks ago about this lawsuit against Harvard, in which Asians are saying they were discriminated against, but what they really are angling to do is to end affirmative action. So this attack on anchor babies and getting the court to come back and revisit who's a citizen and who has what rights under the 14th Amendment is really an attack on an attempt to cause the 14th Amendment to be redefined now that there is a conservative composition of the United States Supreme Court. I guarantee you that if this issue comes back in front of them, it will have negative effects, restrictive effects. It may even take away some of the citizenship rights And you may say, well, that can never happen. That's established. One of the things that you should know by now, you should see, is that there's no such thing as permanent rights. There's no such thing as things being established and forever settled. Nothing is settled in this world. Nothing is settled in this country but change. And things are changing rapidly for the worse. Not for the good, but for the bad. And we've got to wake up and see that this particular struggle, this particular battle about the 14th Amendment is about us and our rights. And we need to share this message, and we need to be alert, and we need to tell our congressmen and our senators, and we need to tell everyone, and we need to tell the Supreme Court that we will not tolerate this, that our rights must be protected, and our rights must be established, and our rights must be respected. That's the big picture.